Hi, I'm Pam Stevens, and I'm a trainer and a consultant with PureFUN. I want to talk about children who struggle with following directions. Oftentimes, when children come to our classrooms, they come from situations where they really haven't had to follow a lot of directions. If they've come from home, their parents have probably supported them quite a bit with any tasks that they have to complete, and so they haven't really been responsible for following directions on their own. And if they come from a younger classroom up to your class, there were probably different rules and different expectations in a younger classroom. So sometimes we have trouble adjusting to the routine of a new classroom. So I'm going to give you some tips on how to help those kids who are struggling with following directions. First, we want to make sure that we're giving our directions in a very simple way and in sequence. We don't want to use a lot of words. We want to state very clearly what we expect of the child. And again, we need to have it in sequence. If you're sitting in circle time and you say, okay, it's time to go outside, and then say, let's get coats, they've already heard go outside, and half your class will probably run to the door. You want to make sure you say it, we need to put our coats on, and then we're going to go outside. That goes much, much better. We also want to make sure that we're breaking complicated tasks down into very simple and easy steps. A lot of things that seem easy to us are not so easy when you're 3 and you've never done it on your own before. For example, you take washing hands. Washing hands actually involves many, many steps. You have to go to the sink, turn on the water, put soap on your hands, rinse your hands, turn off the water, get a paper towel, dry your hands, and throw the paper towel away. That's a lot for a small child who's always had help from his mom when trying to do that. So, a lot of times what happens is they end up leaving out one step, like turning off the water, and they walk away with the sink still running. They forget something because it's a lot for them to handle at once. So we want to break it down into easy steps so they can accomplish it. What can also help is to add some visual cues. And with the example of the washing hands, you can put pictures behind the sink that show each step so the child will know what's expected of them. Sometimes it's going to be important to demonstrate what you're asking a child to do. Oftentimes in classrooms I see teachers just repeating the same thing over and over to a child who just doesn't understand what she means. For instance, if you say, I need you to put that paper on the second shelf, and the child isn't clear on what the second shelf is, no matter how many times you say the second shelf, he's still not going to be able to do it. He doesn't understand. And so you may have to physically show them what you mean. Another great idea is to have a child who's having trouble with the routine to partner with a peer who's really good at the classroom routine and really great at following directions. That child can really help another little guy learn what's expected. And sometimes they just learn better from watching peers than from getting directions from teachers. Sometimes it's not the case that a child doesn't understand directions. It's the situation where they're just not following the directions because they don't want to. We want to make sure in those situations we're giving kids the options of what is acceptable to do and not just telling them no to stop doing something. For instance, if you have a child running in a classroom, what we typically say is walking feet. Stop running, walking feet. If he's running in the classroom, the problem may be that he really needs to get some energy out, that he really needs a gross motor activity. So we want to make sure we're helping him meet the need that he has in an acceptable way. So instead of saying use walking feet, you might want to say, do you want to spend some time on the mini tramp, or should we put on some music and we can do some jumping jacks? Find a way that he can do a gross motor activity if that seems to be why he's breaking the rule. We want to make sure we're giving good alternatives to help solve problems. If you have any questions or want to share some ideas with me, please go to purefuninc.com.